Los Angeles, live on tape, it's the Dennis Miller Show. Tonight, Steve Allen. Musical guest, the Soup Dragons. LA Clippers coach, Larry Brown. And now, it's him.
Thank you. I'm really sick tonight. This is my day nurse, Michelle, and I'm going to take precautions for the day. I'm going to do the monologue. It's freezing in here. All right. Thanks. Wow. It's I think it's great to be here tonight. Nick, how are you?
I'm good. You look like FDR for the fireside chat.
Pull my finger. Okay. Goldie, how you doing, man?
Hi, Dennis. It takes a real man to do what you're doing.
Well, I am really sick, and I want to stay good and warm. Okay. You know, I say we all go over to Daryl Gates' office, throw a pail of water on him, grab the broom, and split. Okay? Doesn't have the same effect in here, does it? See this one? President Bush, trying to figure the best way to get his message to the people, is considering appearing on talk shows now. In a related story, Dan Quayle is considering getting his message out by appearing in cartoons. So, kind of appropriate. I think I heard a massive round of applause in here. Okay, 2 huge forest fires are raging in Oregon, apparently caused by trees practicing self-immolation in protest to President Bush's environmental policies. Thank you, I'm smiling in here. Bill Clinton has won the Democratic nod for the presidency. But he's still, Clinton, but he's still losing ground to third-party candidate Ross Perot. Yeah. You know, I think it's ironic that the guy most likely to enjoy a three-way may lose because of one. You know, This is a steamy little joke. A 29-year-old man was shot. You see this? Unbelievable. Shot in the head with an arrow by his roommate. Have you seen these pictures of him? The arrow was removed, and the guy says he feels great, although not as good as the time his roommate hit him in the head with the anvil, which, Cardinal John O'Connor going to lead a group of protesters at a New York abortion clinic. O'Connor said there was nothing I could do to alienate gays today, so I decided to hassle some chicks. Yeah. And 5 inmates from the Cheatham County Jail in Tennessee are still at large, officials said. They found a hole in the laundry room wall in the prison. It was reported to the sheriff's department. That's how they got out. The sheriff promptly put up a sign that said, "To be repaired, don't escape." Oh, am I glad I'm in here. See, the Seattle Mariners baseball team has been bought by Nintendo. The owners say they plan to put less emphasis on pitching and more on rescuing the princess, which I think is a good idea. A new... Thank you. Thank you for the mercy applause. A new Census Bureau report shows that more than 1/3 of all 15 to 17-year-old Americans are either high school dropouts or behind one grade in their education. On the upside, most 15 to 17-year-olds are 2 years ahead in starting a family and accumulating debt. Yeah! There's a plus side. I'm going to rock a little now. The birth rate in Japan continues to drop. You know, maybe they should consider building a car that has a back seat big enough to... Okay,
I owe you one with the brute gun, my friend.
I'm sorry. It was the pills that made me say it.
All right, I'll give you a waiver. I love it when you work blue.
They'll have to bleep that. I'm working green. A new light bulb has been developed that uses less energy and will last for 20 years. However, General Electric and several major power companies announced today that the new bulb is very high in fat and cholesterol and causes sterility in lab rats. So there's a downside to everything. Watch your filament. A new study shows that motorists drive 190 miles a year, 190 million miles a year. All motorists combined, 190 million miles a year, and 189 million of those are spent behind a very old woman driver who knows you were in a hurry. And finally, Forbes magazine will include a 5 1/4-inch floppy disk in their magazine this month, although the magazine realizes most men will think it's a 12-inch disk. Hey, we've got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Steve Allen, the Soup Dragons, Clippers coach Larry Brown, Goldie.
This portion of the Dennis Miller Show is brought to you by Crisco, because you're cooking for your family.
Welcome back, folks. I feel better now. I'm drinking my herbal tea. Everything's good in the world. We got a good show tonight. We got Nick, Steve Allen. Yeah. We've got the Soup Dragons, Clipper coach Larry Brown, and as if the plate wasn't full enough, we're going to do a Miller's Index right now. Remember, the first fact is absolutely true. Number of times Dan Quayle hit the Secret Service emergency button under his desk since he's been in office, 3. Number of times the Secret Service responded, 0. Dan, you are expendable, Dano. Total length of all roads built during the Roman Empire in miles, 49,000. Of these, number that led to Rome, all of them. This is a history joke, you know. Cute little joke. Just in case Pompey was in the room tonight. Number of courses on the Vietnam War required for graduation from West Point, 0. Number of courses on the invasion of Grenada required, 5. Got to put some thought into these tonight, kids. Stay with me, huh? Average number of miles an item of food consumed in the United States travels before it is eaten, 1,200 miles. Average number of miles an item of food consumed by Rush Limbaugh travels before it is digested, 4,006 miles. Rush. Chances that an electronic scanner in a New York City supermarket will overcharge on a sale item, 1 in 2. Chances that you will be slapped and dragged out to the alley for being a friggin' wise guy if you complain, 2 in 2. And the maximum voltage of an Amazonian electric eel, 650 volts. Number of eels that would take the shock George Bush into doing something about the environment, 20. And amount paid at auction for a permit to kill 1 bighorn sheep in Montana, $109,000. Amount the sheep bid, $108,000. Percentage of Americans that can jump-start a car, 70. Percentage of these who forget that when they see you on the side of the highway, 100. And finally, rank of Miami in prune juice consumption per household. Number 1, rank of Miami in using the phrase, "Where's the men's room? Hurry, hurry, hurry." 1. And that's the Miller's Index right there, folks. All right. Okay, my first guest, sort of a modern-day Renaissance man. He's done movies, TV, radio, Broadway, written over 4,000 songs, authored 38 books, all of this today. The newest one is How to Be Funny. Please welcome Steve Allen. Steve.
It may seem a little rude that I stop your applause, but I don't plan to be that great. So I didn't want them to get their hopes up.
We've been forewarned.
Good. You have a real cold. I think it's important for me to establish that, because people might have thought you had the blanket on just because you wanted to look like... Who was the guy that used to sit at 45th and Broadway?
Eddie Slovic.
No, that was 46th and Broadway.
Oh.
No, seriously, there was a guy, Moondog. That was his name. Thank you, Steve. That's all right, Steve. His name was Moondog, and he was, today they would call him homeless, but he used to look exactly like you, with the blanket, that is. Otherwise, there was very little resemblance.
He would just sit there and do what?
Just sit there. And he was...
How did you know it was a human being under there?
Well, one could converse with him. To this day, I don't know why he sat there. He was sightless, and so I would talk to him. He talked like a musician. You know, he called me man and things like that. Mm-hmm. Of course, he also called women man, so that didn't prove it. But anyway, you look just like him.
Well, did you encounter Moondog when you were being the... No, actually, there was a show before the Tonight Show, right?
But, well, there were thousands of shows.
But I mean, there was one late night show with, who was the gentleman?
Jerry Lester.
Jerry Lester, right.
Oh, yeah, and there were on all the networks and all the stations many late night shows, but there was never a talk show before the Tonight Show.
Mm-hmm. And when did you first start doing a Tonight Show?
I started doing it as a local show in 1953, just in the New York, Connecticut, New Jersey area. And then it caught on, as we say, in the catching business, and because at that time the head of NBC, Pat Weaver, father of Sigourney Weaver, brother of Doodles Weaver, who was really a comedian, who had chicken feet. He used to wear big chicken claws on his feet.
Did he hang out with Moondog? Seems to be an eclectic little Star Wars bar here that you...
They were a buddy picture until one night Moondog tried to eat Doodle's feet, and it didn't work out. But all seriousness aside, what the hell were we talking about?
I was asking you, everybody traces these things back.
Yes.
You try to trace MTV back, and nobody will give you the square word on who did it first, but you did the first Tonight Show, right?
I did the first. Anyway, they put it on the network, and at that point they changed the name of the show from The Steve Allen Show to Tonight, and that's how it all started.
And, but I like talking about this. I'm fascinated. I remember one of the first instincts I had to do TV is when I was young, and maybe this is apocryphal, and maybe I've made it more in my head, but did you not go back to a loading dock one night at really late at night, it seemed, and open it and start playing golf out into the streets of Manhattan? Was that your show?
I have no recollection of doing that. But
it was my memory.
It might have been one of my Moondog nights when I just couldn't seem to keep anything straight. But this is a very common experience. I should explain that I did talk shows for 14 years in all, and as you know, at the rate of 5 a week,
you blanked the day after, pretty much.
Right. So to this day, people are coming up and say, boy, I never forget the night you tore your clothes off and jumped out the window or whatever it is.
Yeah, I remember that night. I was there.
But that was at home. But you know, I don't...
Jane, we're kidding.
I don't remember most of that stuff.
Yeah. Now, you guys were filming, how much time did you fill at the beginning?
Well, the show was 90 minutes long when we started, and then for a while, when it went on the network, we added another 15 minutes to that because I was sponsored by a New York brand of beer, and they had the rights to me for another 6 months or so. So I had to do 50 minutes locally and then hit the network.
Now, how'd you fill it up? Did you do a monologue? I don't remember.
The show was a talk show, seriously, Dennis, only maybe 3 or 4 nights a week. Other nights we would just do wild stuff. We would go out in the street, 44th Street, behind the Hudson Theater, and play basketball with the Harlem Globetrotters, or we'd run over to the New York ice skating rink, at Rockefeller Center, and play hockey with the New York Rangers. Or we might have a gang of girl basketball players and engage them on the stage.
Right.
We did dramas, actual 30-minute dramas within the show. We did political discussions. We'd get the Basie band and let them play for 30 minutes, which is a beautiful idea.
Were you the least bit inhibited, or it was just completely gung-ho? You never had any reticence to try anything?
No, because to this day, it seems to me, and I assume you feel the same because you seem at ease doing this, I think hosting a talk show is the easiest gig in show business.
It is if you let yourself fall back into it. If you try to preconceive it and premeditate it, it becomes the hardest job.
Be yourself is great advice in this, because if the audience likes you, that's it. I mean, there's nothing, everybody has the same guests, more or less, at the end of a year,
Right.
And the desks look the same, and the couches and chairs look the same. But if they buy you, that's it.
They've bought
and you're not opposite wagon train, and it's, made your year or something.
Yeah, because Ward Bond with that heat. Okay, we'll be right back with Steve Allen right after this, folks. We're back with Steve Allen, his book, How to Be Funny. I see the foreword is by George Burns, which is a good leaping off point who had the best timing you ever saw? Was it George or?
He's right up there, number 1 or 2, Jack Benny. They were the two champs, I guess, yeah.
Boy, they used to hold on things. I always admired their courage.
To jump down one generation with that same approach to comedy, Bob Newhart has always played it cool and slow.
Yeah, sort of less is more. I always admired that.
When it works, it's ideal.
Yeah. What kills me is when Hope throws a line out there that you might have, I admire Bob Hope immensely, some of his earlier works, just brilliant, but some of the lines now are not the best, but he still camps out with that complete, indignancy, like you better give it up for him. I love that. Yeah. That makes me laugh so hard when he just throws it out. You start laughing because
he has tremendous authority. Many of the comedians of that generation, they don't say it in these terms, but the message is, "Hi, folks, I'm the boss for the next hour." Do we understand that? Not all. You don't have to have that to be funny. Some comedians are very tentative and mousy on stage. One of the, again, jumping down a generation who has that same authority is Bill Cosby. Mm-hmm. If you see him stretching out for an hour, I don't mean on his TV show.
Or indeed 2 hours. I saw him one night in a chair, just complete at ease.
He has such ease and authority in front of an audience that I one night saw him go 20 minutes without a laugh, and the reason he got no laugh is he wasn't trying for one. He was just saying, "Hi, where are you folks from?" and that kind of stuff. I don't think there are many comedians who would risk 20 minutes up front.
Well, I think that goes back to the talk show thing we were talking about earlier. If they see that, if you set their alarms off that you've gone to DEFCON 4 on the anxiety scale, that completely makes them rigid. But if at some point you look like, I know this isn't working, and quite frankly, I'll be okay for a while with that, it's sort of liberating for the crowd.
While it helps to have talent as a talk show host, it's not even necessary. Seriously. You have talent. No, why is my finger up in there? No, I'm serious. The key question is, what did the host do for a living before he hosted the talk show? And Dennis has a great track record on Saturday Night Live, professional comedian, millions of stand-up routines and concerts and stuff. So he's on the talent list. But the list of talk show hosts who are A, very successful, and B, have no talent, using the word in its traditional theatrical sense, is much longer. It's just a fact.
Well, I feel put in my place. Okay, give me a schmuck real quick before we go to this clip.
What clip are we going to show?
I just love that. I remember that.
Someday when we have more time, I'll tell you why I started. A grown man who looks too intelligent to do that sort of thing. Why I've been doing that on TV for about 40 years.
Why you've been schmucking? Was it the fill? Was it when you were at an impasse?
No, it had to do with a story told me by Bobby Rosengarten, the drummer and orchestra leader, just before I went on the air one night. A very funny one, too.
He did Cabot's show, right?
Yeah, that's right. He was Dick's band leader. And we work together when I'm in New York very often. But it's a 2-minute story.
Well, you got to tell me, I want to ask you, I'm pretty run down, and I want to ask you to come on and host tomorrow night's show. We'll co-host it. You want to do that?
Sure, it's okay by me if it's all right with you.
All right, so we'll co-host the show tomorrow, but I want to... Well, You know, I see you on shows now, and I always think, God, I love the way he did that. I want to see you do it again. I'll sit here. You can sit here.
Really?
And we'll,
All right.
share the stick.
Yes.
Figuratively speaking. Okay. Let's see this clip. What do you got here, Steve Areno?
Is this from one of my old shows?
I think it's the Jell-O clip.
Oh, yes. I used to do a lot of crazy shtick, as we say, and apparently they have some of it stuck up over there. Let her roll. Shtick master.
Let me feel this stuff. Can I feel it? Yo, look at that. You see it jiggling? That's sickening. You see it jiggle? Hear it? Wait a minute. Oh, here, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Almost got pushed in. I don't want to go in. I want my mommy. And all the big boys jump in. I want to go home and go to bed. I don't want to go in!
That was gross when you were whapping. It was like giving Imelda Marcos a rub down or something.
It was really Jell-O. What could be fake Jell-O?
There's always room for Jell-O, Steve. Okay, well, you're going to come back tomorrow night. We'll host the show together. I appreciate you coming on. Once again, the book is How to Be Funny, Discovering the Comic You. Anybody can do this. Yeah, right. Okay, we'll be right back with the Soup Dragon. Steve, thank you.
This portion of the Dennis Miller Show is brought to you by VCR Plus. Life should be so simple.
Welcome back, folks. My next guests are a band from Scotland, currently in the middle of an American tour, supporting their new album, Hot Wired, performing Divine Thing. Back tonight by the First AME Church Youth Choir. Here are the Soup Dragons, folks.
Your vanity will always be greatest thing. I could have sworn that you were an angel, 'cause you're a sweet, 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 divine thing. But I should have known that you were the devil, dressed like a sweet, 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 divine thing.
Welcome back. Welcome back, folks. The Soup Dragons will be back later in the show to perform another song. And Slats, I asked, we're gonna have the choir back too, because it was great, but you couldn't really hear them. What's the choir again? It's from the what church? The First AM&E Church. All right, you guys come back and sing. Do you know "Smoke on the Water"? Deep Purple. Yeah. All right, okay, we'll go with that. We all went down to Montreux on the Lake Geneva shoreline. I can do the whole song, man.
Give me a little space trucking.
I can do the whole song. I had no life at that particular moment. My next guest is a successful basketball coach who came to Los Angeles mid-season and coached the Clippers to the playoffs for the first time ever. Larry Brown. Larry. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for coming on. Big fan of yours.
Well, thanks for having me.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, what do you point to for your nomadic existence? I think everybody admires you as one of the most brilliant basketball minds we have, but you have moved around a lot. What is it, just a restless soul, or what's the deal?
No, I just wanted to find my way back to L.A.
Yeah?
And I thought I'd look at other places.
Circuitous route. You always thought UCLA was a great job, though. Kind of regretted leaving it, didn't you?
Yeah, well, one, I never believed I was a coach at UCLA, and when you consider a coach...
What do you mean by that?
Well,
you just
they had
wouldn't
one
expect
coach,
her?
yeah. You know, he won 10 national championships, and that doesn't happen very often, and it was always hard for me to, you know, even say I was a coach at UCLA, but I loved it. The student body was the greatest, and I never expected to be a pro coach, to be honest, and I don't know why I am a pro coach. But you know, coming back to LA and coaching the Clippers is pretty special for me.
Yeah. Well, the rigors between coaching the pros must be a lot more physical in a way. I mean, in college, you got to go out, you got to meet these kids in their living room, you got to sell the school. There's a lot of that attendant stuff that could drag you down, but just the physical regimen of being a pro coach must be amazing.
Well, it beats working. It's really like stealing. You know, I played. I loved playing, and
I remember watching you play.
I always wanted to coach, and you know, we're paid pretty well. I got 4 or 5 months off. I'd rather be working right now, but you know, that doesn't happen. There's a difference between pro and college. We don't have to recruit, and that was the worst thing about a college coach.
Yeah.
to go into a home and try to sell yourself and your school, sometimes it's difficult. But, you know, in the pros, Elgin tells me who I'm going to coach, and I think he's done a pretty good job in getting some young players, and it's really up to the players on a professional level. You know,
Yeah.
when your best players set the standards, I think it's a lot easier.
Right. Well, you know, Elgin's done such a good job of accumulating young talent that the Lakers or the Clippers are now perceived to be one of the few teams that could actually make a package for Hakeem Olajuwon. Anything working there, or are you guys just going to go with what you have right now?
Well, now everybody's talking, but I think to acquire Hakeem, you probably have to give up half our team.
Yeah, and you got to lose Manning, and I wouldn't lose Manning right now.
Well, he's been pretty good to me.
Yeah, I think he's right on the verge of that rebirth too. You know, his knee completely blown out, but I think it's his time. And
well, they say it takes about 3 years for you to get completely healthy. This team has had so many tough breaks. Harper's had the same injury, and I think we're just starting to get a good, solid nucleus and develop some stability, and hopefully I can stay here a while.
Yeah. Well, the Cavs had to be eating their heart out for Ronnie Harper in that last series because they needed somebody who could put the ball in the hole or go to the basket.
Well, you know, you look at this league, in the finals you have Jordan and Drexler, two great big guards, and that's Harper's position. I think now that he's getting healthy, nobody's in Michael's class.
No, just preternatural. I saw him for the first time a couple weeks ago in Chicago Stadium, and I'm thinking, boy, he doesn't have his game together tonight. I look up, he's got 38. It's just that sort of ball player, you know?
I was listening to that game, and I thought he was playing well, and, you know, they never mentioned it. But I heard Steve talk about you not having to have any talent to do what you did.
Yeah.
Well...
Yeah, there's a theme of tonight's show.
Well, no, but I was thinking, you know, you always hear that about coaches when they have a player like Michael.
Right.
That you don't have to. And I was hopeful that we'd be in the lottery so Shaquille would come here, but
yeah.
Because then I don't think you need any talent to coach him.
Well, Orlando's lucky they got him down there because they need he wants to do ads, and at least he's in a place where they've got some business going on down there. You know, I don't think he was going to go some places. I really sensed that he would have just put his foot down.
I don't think it's like that in our league.
No?
Because, you know, David Robinson went to San Antonio, and I think he's really happy there. I think it's important for players, sure, to go to places where they think they're going to get recognition, but
right.
As visible as our league is, Shaquille will do all right in Orlando.
Yeah. What's your take on him? He's like a man with boys right now. He's got that pro body, doesn't he?
He's only 20. I was living in San Antonio, and he's from there, and was on a high school team there. I used to see him in the supermarket all the time, and I was amazed at how big David, you know, Robinson was. But Shaquille's a man already, and I think he's going to be as good as any player in this league.
Yeah, he reminds me of Dawkins' body. Remember when Dawkins came right out of high school, went to the pros?
I coached Darryl one of my stops.
And he was the prince of, what was the planet?
He was
Choctron or something?
He was Chocolate Thunder, and I told him to tone his act down a little bit, and I wanted him Thunder Down Under.
Right.
So,
little mellower.
Yeah.
Little mood music. Real quick, what do we need in the draft? What are you looking for?
Well, we just need a couple of good athletes. I think we got positions that I would like to take the best player available.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if we got a guy that could play more than one position.
Yeah, a little swing back.
I heard you play, so.
Yeah, but like Steve said, not well. Okay, we'll be right back with the Soup Dragons after this. Larry Brown. Thank you, Larry.
If you're going to be in Los Angeles and would like to attend a taping of the Dennis Miller Show, please drop us a note, care of the Dennis Miller Show. Post Office Box 4150, Hollywood, California 90078, or call us at 818-506-0043.
I am joined by the lovely Nick Bakay. Tomorrow night, my guest will be actress Sherry Belafonte, musical guest Screaming Jay Hawkins. Remember last time Jay was on?
I'll never forget
Sally
it.
Kirkland?
Sally Kirkland.
Freakazoided on me. Tried to get me to dance.
Dragged you on the
Fast dance
floor.
on live TV. Never happened,
gonna
babe.
happen.
Okay, actress, four-time world champion bodybuilder Rachel McClish, who's just going to stomp me, and comedian Todd Glass. And Steve Allen's going to co-host. So, Nick, what happened with the stamp? We were going to do a stamp of me, the older...
I do indeed, Dennis. Thousands of people flooded the tiny answering machine the good people at Tribune Entertainment have rented for us. And we have gleaned this much from their calls. The country is divided. The calls are split between the young Dennis stamp and the equally pleasing, but of course more portly, theoretically older, mature Dennis stamp.
Yeah, that's my look. Let me see that one again. Let me see this one.
Check that out.
Yeah, I dig the older one, man. Sort of like Max Cady with Bob Guccione Sr.'s jewelry on. So what happens now? Do I get both stamps? What's the deal?
No. As much as that would please me, both stamps would be unseemly and cause you to become personality non grata within the gilded walls of Graceland. I have spoken. Thank you very much, Mr. Chad Weckerman, on the drums.
Wow, Nick.
I hope people will call us with their preference, and please help us break the tie. We have decided by next week which stamp we must submit to the post office for ratification. So call us on the voicemail, 213-871-8198.
Let's get a little sampling here. Which one do you like here?
Okay, let's hold them up
the
for
young,
applause vote. The young Dennis?
The young, this is the close-up. This is the, I'm young and never gonna get laid with this hair look. Or the older...
Or, of course, the older Dennis.
The older, I'm never gonna get laid with this defective thing. Look. Okay, that voicemail number 213-871-8198. Soup Dragons, digging the bit. Okay, with their 1990 hit, I'm Free, the Soup Dragons, folks. Yeah.
Don't be afraid of your freedom. I said I'm free to do what I want anytime. I said I'm free to do what I want anytime. I said I'm free to be who I choose, to get my blues any old time. I'm free to do what I want, to be what I want any old time. I said love me, hold me, love me, hold me, 'cause I'm free to do what I want any old time.
This portion of the Dennis Miller Show is brought to you by Hyundai, makers of the Excel, Scoop, Sonata, and the brand new Elantra.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you. Hey. The Soup Dragons, very clean, weren't they? Huh? You know, I dug that first song so much I could hear it again. Yeah, I'd like to TV our little secret. Tomorrow night, my guest will be Sherry Belafonte, and musical guest Screamin' Jay Hawkins will be here to play 2 songs twice. Actress and 4-time world champion bodybuilder Rachel McLeish will be here. Yeah. I wonder if she's cut, man. I wonder if she's coming in for the show cut.
I think she's been in training.
Nothing but diuretics, some water,
low-fat
very
diet.
clean. We're going to work some crab poses. Todd Glass and Stevie Reno Allen's going to host it with me. I'd like to thank my guest tonight, Steve Allen, Soup Dragons, Larry Brown. Good night, teenagers. Thank you. Bye-bye.